1970, LAPD detective Joseph Wambaugh lived a double life. By day, he patrolled the streets of Los Angeles, witnessing the chaos that most people only read about in the newspapers. By night, he sat at his typewriter, transforming 14 years of police experience into something no one had ever attempted before. Crime writing from someone who actually lived it. At 33, Wambaugh faced a difficult choice. He had a family to support and the stability of a steady paycheck. But he felt an urgency to tell the stories that haunted him, stories that no one else could tell because no one else had lived them. These were not the sanitized police tales that Hollywood preferred. These were the real stories about officers who drank too much to forget what they'd seen, who cracked under the relentless pressure of urban violence, and who used gallows humor to survive the brutality they witnessed daily. He knew these men well because he was one of them. When The New Centurions exploded onto bestseller lists in 1971, it shattered every convention of police writing. Wambaugh didn't just observe cop culture, he had breathed it for over a decade. His characters weren't heroes saving the day or corrupt villains taking bribes. They were damaged human beings trying to do an impossible job in an unforgiving city, often failing as much as they succeeded. The literary world had never encountered anything like it. Here was police work, stripped of myth and romance, written with the insider knowledge that only comes from carrying a badge. Books like The Choir Boys followed, each one more unflinchingly honest than the last, each one proving that Wambaugh understood something fundamental that other crime writers missed: the psychological cost of wearing the uniform, and how that cost shaped every decision an officer made. However, his defining achievement came with The Onion Field. This was not fiction. It was Wambaugh's meticulous reconstruction of the 1963 kidnapping of two LAPD officers, Ian Campbell and Carl Hettinger, and Campbell's subsequent murder. He spent years researching every detail, interviewing everyone involved: the surviving officer, the killers, the families, the investigators. Then he wrote both the book and the screenplay to ensure Hollywood couldn't sanitize or sensationalize his vision. The 1979 film became a haunting examination of justice, survivors' guilt, and the ripple effects of violence that extend far beyond the crime scene. What made The Onion Field revolutionary was not just its unflinching accuracy, but Wambaugh's focus on Carl Hettinger, the surviving officer who became consumed by guilt and self-doubt. Here was a police story that dared to explore the psychological trauma long before anyone talked about PTSD in law enforcement. Wambaugh revolutionized crime writing, not through clever plots or memorable detectives, but through radical honesty. He refused to romanticize police work, showing instead the moral complexity and human frailty behind the badge. He proved that the most compelling stories were not about perfect heroes, nor irredeemable villains, but instead ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances. This former detective, who left behind his badge for the writing desk, didn't just change careers, he transformed how America sees both its police and the stories we tell about them, proving that the most powerful writing comes from those brave enough to tell the truth, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be. Wambaugh continued writing until his death earlier this year, leaving behind a remarkable body of work that included classics like The Black Marble, The Glitter Dome, and Hollywood Station. Each book carried forward his unwavering commitment to truth-telling, ensuring that his unique voice, part cop, part storyteller, would continue to influence how we understand both crime and the people who fight it.